A full Friday slate around Major League Baseball. All 30 clubs in action. 15 games. The docket on this Friday, entering a new weekend around the bigs. Donnie, right side has made it to a good Friday, as have all of you.
Yep.
Really good matchup tonight in Arlington. The Rangers completing a sweep yesterday of the other Los Angeles team, their divisional foes in the Halos. Tonight in Arlington, the Dodgers enter in Texas. Rangers and Dodgers tonight. LA, a slight road favorite, as you would expect, but not nearly as strong as that number. Minus 136 now, the updated price. Yoshi Yamamoto goes off against Jacob deGrom. Over-under stands at 8. DRS, before we dive into the game, a question here for our producer, Joe Frizo, to get into our earpieces and let us know. Yesterday, as we were getting this show ready, doing the notes, getting ready, pre-production, all that stuff, I am pretty sure that this headline for this game was World Series preview ? Why the change, Joe? Have we lost faith in either the Dodgers or the Rangers to be there at the end of October? Didn't want to be attacked on a Friday, and yet he still was asked questions live on air. All right, to the game, DRS. Dodgers a slight road favorite with Yamamoto on the bump. What do you see happening tonight in Arlington?
Yeah, if you're looking at just names on the mound, like, whoa, deGrom's back, should be able to dominate tonight. Maybe he does, but coming into the season here, again, limited access last year, looking to regain that Cy Young form that he had with the New York Mets. He's had 14 2/3 innings pitched, a 4.30 ERA, and a 4.62 xFIP number, which isn't very good. Now, conversely, look at the opposite side here, and that's Yamamoto's 22 innings pitched on the season, Ben, a 1.23 ERA translating to a 2.19 xFIP number. So the better pitcher on the mound today is not Jacob deGrom. It's with the Dodgers. So you're looking at that price point on the road at minus 146 or so. That does make some sense. And understand this too. Looking at right-handed pitching against that Dodgers lineup hasn't worked out all that well. Elevated ISO power numbers and weighted on base percentages all throughout that lineup. If you want to pick your poison with deGrom, 26 batters he's faced as a right-handed pitcher against right-handed talent at the plate, an 0.40 ISO and a 212 weighted on base percentage. You have to like that. However, you got lefties in that lineup like Ohtani, Freddie Freeman, Michael Conforto, Tommy Edman, who's a switch hitter, and the same thing with Max Muncy batting from the left-hand side. Jacob deGrom, through 37 batters this year, has high elevated ISO power numbers at 452 and also weighted on base percentage at 456. So if I'm looking to attack from a prop perspective, it would be the left-handed bats going up against Jacob deGrom. But I got to tell you, very rarely that you would see a home team in Texas, which is a quality team, going up against the Dodgers, and look at that price point and say, I think the Dodgers might be a little bit cheap today. They should get to deGrom a bit, and you take a look again at Yamamoto. He's been really good. That minus 146 price, buyable for the Dodgers today.
Yeah, I certainly think so, DRS. Maybe some buyback in the idea that deGrom is starting. And again, the Rangers did complete the series sweep yesterday against their divisional foes in the Halos. 12-7 record for Texas now, best among the American League West. They've got a 2-game advantage over the Mariners early on for that top spot. You know who is struggling in the AL West? In fact, in the cellar at this moment, the Astros, 2 games sub 500 at 8-10. But at home tonight to start off a weekend series in H-Town against the San Diego Padres. All right, San Diego, Southern California's beautiful Petco Park, one of the most beautiful ballparks in all of the bigs, and it's been great for the Padres. They're 12-1 in 13 games at home this year, 15-4 overall. But now they have to go on the road. What does that mean for the Padres tonight as an underdog against the Stros?
Do you want to have heart, or you want to go with the gusto with the 2 pitchers on the mound today in this one? You take a look at Augusto on the mound here for the Astros. He's actually coming in decent form, only 12 innings pitched. But how about this? A 3 ERA and a 3.0 xFIP number. You take a look at his price points here based on 29 batters faced from the right-hand side. Keep in mind he's a right-handed pitcher. An 0.37 ISO and a 214 weighted on base percentage. Only 17 batters he's faced from the left-hand side. They've roughed him up a little bit to a 438 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 415. You take a look at the lineup today. Arise will bat from the left-hand side, Gavin Sheets, as well as Hayward and also Wade, but not a lot of great statistics from those left-handed batters going up in those matchups. If we go to the other side, and we were talking about Hart on the line here today, which is Kyle Hart, the left-handed pitcher for the San Diego Padres. No statistics last year. This year, getting lefties out, but not getting right-handed batters out. But here's where you sort of have to buy in a little bit. You see that price point, minus 138. They might have the better pitcher on the mound today, numbers-wise, but look at the Astros lineup versus lefties this season. It's been terrible. Outside of Yordan Alvarez, who actually is a left-handed batter, a 356 weighted on base percentage, and Diaz 350, everybody else, ISO power and weighted on base percentage, is really, really bad at that point. So I don't know how many runs we're getting in Houston tonight. I do think the price point is correct theoretically because the better pitcher on the mound is with Houston, but it's a game I probably would stay away from because I just don't like that lineup for the Houston Astros tonight against any left-handed pitcher, to be honest.
DRS, a lot of interleague intrigue this weekend. 7 of our 15 weekend sets, nearly half, feature an interleague matchup that includes even in the same state. To Anaheim we go tonight. The Halos hosting the San Francisco Giants, coming off a 4-game midweek set in Philadelphia against the Phillies. They split that 4-game set, losing the finale yesterday. Logan Webb gets the start today for San Francisco in Southern California against the Halos, and the Giants are a road favorite. Total is 8. What's the play today in Anaheim?
Yeah, starting to fall back here for the Angels at this point. And also, Logan Webb wasn't all that great in his last start, I believe, was against the New York Yankees, but they did win that game outright in the end with some pretty good offensive structure. Logan Webb on the mound comes in, again, fantastic last year, fantastic again this year. But the key is going to be is when does that fall off start to happen for the Angels when you just take a look at the individual batters? Because against right-handed pitching, they still stack up really well all up and down that roster. But now you're starting to see like that, okay, some of that lull is starting to hit them as a team at this point. You take a look at Tyler Anderson on the mound, who is a left-handed pitcher, which I always think is funny, where he's so good against right-handed bats and so bad against left-handed bats. But as you know, Major League Baseball, regardless of those statistics, the other team is not just going to stack left-handed batters against a left-handed pitcher. You take a look at Jung-Hoo Lee, who outside of one game in Philadelphia had a pretty good series and a really good start to the season. He's a lefty that's done really good damage against left-handed pitching. But as you go down the rest of that roster, it's all right-handed bats in that lineup. So from a prop perspective, it's probably Jung-Hoo Lee in the middle of that lineup, but you're still trying to give deference to the Angels starting to fall off. Can you just take San Francisco? Better pitcher on the mound and maybe the better lineup, probably the way to go.
Jung-Hoo Lee, plus 175 tonight, DRS, against the Angels to record an RBI. Feels like a pretty good price. Some more MLB previews come your way up next. A lot of interleague intrigue this weekend around Major League Baseball, but also some good divisional matchups that we have. In Philadelphia, what an ace affair we have on this Friday night in the bank. Zach Wheeler and the Phils, greater than a $2 favorite on that money line at minus 220. But on the other side, Sandy Alcantara and the Miami Marlins come to town this weekend. Over-under stands at 7.5 DRS. How does the series start tonight in Philly?
If you're just reading lines, that's a Philadelphia line because, as you stated, Zach Wheeler is one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, but Sandy Alcantara certainly has the ability to be a top-end start and has been that in the past prior to his injury. A little bit of a slower start to him this season, 4.70 ERA, 3.94 xFIP, which isn't terrible, but you're really handicapping this game based on what Zach Wheeler is supposed to do to the lineup for the Miami Marlins. Because when we look at the Phillies lineup against, let's just say, any right-handed pitcher this year, it's been very good. And just based on Bryson Stott all the way through JT Realmuto, which is the first 7 batters in the lineup, high ISO power numbers and weighted on base percentage and limited strikeouts and increased walk rate, which should help you there. And I'm saying Alcantara is a very good pitcher. But the question again is the Marlins lineup and what do you get out of it? Like Zach Wheeler has struggled at times with right-handed batters, but Xavier Edwards, Jesus Sanchez, Connor Norby, Stowers, Mervis, Lopez, Conan, Hicks, and Hill. It's a terrible lineup for the Marlins. Maybe the most least talented lineup in baseball outside of, let's just say, the Chicago White Sox on a night-to-night basis. So there's that price point that you look at. Hey, I'm getting Alcantara, and I'm getting a plus 188. Just sign me up, and I'll see what it is, and maybe the Phillies bats will continue to struggle. I'm on the opposite side. I look at that 220 price and say, I don't necessarily want to pay it, but I can see it. Like, what's your worst-case scenario today with Zach Wheeler? 66 degrees and a double-digit wind blowing out to center field does help the batters. But honestly, if you tell me like the Marlins' max runs today is 3, the Phillies are going to win this baseball game, and that's where I leave that.
Yeah, for sure, DRS. A 2-0 record for Alcantara this year, but a 4.70 ERA, as DRS alluded to. He has allowed multiple earned runs, at least 2 in each of his 3 starts. He has only thrown at most 91 pitches that he did back on opening day for the Fish. He's been an innings eater throughout his career. Certainly was when he won the 2022 NL Cy Young Award, but missed all of last season, still finding his way back on the bump. Part of why you see that pricing. Philadelphia in its 3rd series of the season, of course, knocked off the Dodgers. They were off to a 7-2 start in their 3 series since. not a series victory. Did split the 4-game set against the Giants this week, hoping to win the series this weekend against Miami. We head down to Tampa, where the Yankees are on the road, but in a familiar spot, of course, in their spring training home. Bronx South, as we're calling it, George Steinbrenner Field. The Yankees victorious yesterday, 6-3 in the weekend series opener against Tampa. Game number 2 of a 4-game set today against the Rays. As we see it there, DRS, looking at those odds for game number 2, just tracking it down here on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Why am I missing it? There it is. The Yankees a slight favorite. Now, as we see, Carlos Rodon gets the nod today for the Pinstripes. What do you expect in Tampa?
Yeah, this game last night, you're taking a look at, how good's Will Warren going to do? It wasn't very good. They yanked him right away. Didn't even make it out of the second inning, and they still end up winning that baseball game. So this is the handicap as it starts because the much better lineup is with the New York Yankees. But hear me out on this. Drew Rasmussen last year, Ben, 116 batters faced, stellar numbers. 0.46 ISO and a 244 weighted on base percentage, dominated both right-handed and also left-handed batters. Keep in mind, he's a right-handed pitcher. This season, 54 batters that he's faced, and you take a look at his lineup through 15 innings, an 0.60 ERA and a 2.74 xFIP number, which is really good. You look at his splits this year, ISO power numbers through 54 batters, Ben, it's a 0. No extra base hits. A weighted on base percentage combined, a 174, a high K rate, and a low walk rate. Now, you have to extrapolate those numbers and take into effect the Yankees lineup, which Ben Rice, Aaron Judge, Anthony Volpe, Jazz Chisholm, Wells, and Dominguez against right-handed pitching all have really high ISO power numbers. So you don't want to go down that path like, the Yankees batters will hit and they'll be fine, because why? Look at that lineup today for Tampa Bay. Going up against Rodon, who's not a great pitcher, not having a great season, didn't have a great season last year, but that lineup doesn't hit left-handed pitching at all. Yandy Diaz leading off a 462 ISO and a weighted on base percentage at 474 against lefties. Fantastic. Jose Caballero in that lineup looks to hit about 5th today. 545 ISO, 622 weighted on base percentage. Everybody else is basically a 0 ISO power number and a terrible weighted on base percentage. So if you're just betting the better pitcher, technically it's Tampa. But boy, if you're expecting to win 2-1, that's a pretty low threshold to say we don't have much of a margin for error. That's what makes it tough. But also, look at that line perspective. Really light, basically a coin flip. Sometimes you just want to ride the better pitcher that they'll get it together, and maybe you do that tonight.
We also have some day baseball, a Friday at Wrigley in early spring. Total 11 at the friendly confines. Wind.
You know why?
Blowing out. So we would see.